Opacity and transparency are key areas to know about in layers. Opacity is the extent to which something blocks light. So if you have something that's 100% opaque, you see it blocks everything underneath it. Less transparency, 50%, 70%, 82%, lets varying amounts of the underlying layer see through. In Photoshop, every pixel has an attribute called opacity. If the opacity is 100%, it blocks what's behind it, below it. If it's 0%, it's completely transparent. In between values make it partially transparent. Again, here's some text with an image. The text is on layer 1. The image is on the background. And the first prize text is 50% opaque, and we can kind of see through it.
Hey, Bert.
Yep.
So then my understanding is the lower in the layers, the higher the priority. So it starts the background and works its way up in terms of priority.
Well, there's no priority. A top layer is, if you have two images and you open one image and it's in background, and then you add a new layer and you put another image on it, it's in layer 1, and they're both 100% opaque, then you will not see the background layer at all. So from a priority standpoint, if you consider layer 1 to be have higher priority because it's 100% opaque, then the upper layers are more.
So going back to that earlier icon you showed, like a stack of layers, it's like your eyeball is on the top looking down. So the very top layer, whatever it wants to do gets first priority. Then it goes to the second layer down, then the third layer
Correct.
down.
Correct. That is correct. Okay. So take a look at this. Here's the top layer, and this may demonstrate what we're talking about. So we have this top layer. So we have an image. We have basically two layers in Photoshop right now: a top layer and a bottom layer. The top layer is a red ellipse, and the red ellipse is 100% transparent, 100% opaque. But around it, you see the checkerboard. The checkerboard means it's completely transparent. The checkerboard is transparency. So again, think of this as a sheet of glass. The glass is completely transparent except for where that red ellipse is. Layers can be partially or wholly transparent, as we just said. Okay, transparent areas in a layer allow layers below it to show through. So in this case, we have a background layer, which is completely blue. And we have a top layer, which is a red ellipse on it with transparency around it. This is what the layers panel looks like. We see the ellipse on the top, and we see the checkerboard around it, and we see the blue background. And what we end up with is seeing this image. So when the two layers are combined, the red ellipse covers the background layer, but the transparent areas basically are transparent. We see the background layer through it. Make sense? Oh,
Yes.
take that as a yes. Okay.